Hey guys, so it's actually been a few days since a couple of minutes ago, and because the finest sandpaper that I had was 1000 grit, and before I went any further on the master, the actual windshield, I decided I wanted to practice the final polishing part. And so I sanded this. This is one of the Zeroli cowls. It's got, it's got the frames molded in, and they're all in the wrong place, and that's what started me down this friggin' rabbit hole. So, so I sanded this with 600 and 1000, just like I did to that one, and then I started polishing. I wasn't having much luck there, so I ordered some 1200 grit and some 1500 grit. So 1200, 1500, both are 3M products, wet dry, and I have since sanded this with 1200 on the outside and the inside, and 1500 on the outside and on the inside. And the next step is, I'm sorry I don't have the bottle anymore. The bottle is 10, 12, 11 years old, and it cracked. And so I poured the contents into here. This is 3M micro finishing compound. So it's basically a rubbing compound. It's got a very, very, very mild grit to it. And so I also bought one of these at Home Depot, and it came with a variety of these kind of polishing wheels, and I started using this one. The brown stuff is supposed to be for mild cutting, if you will, on plastic, and that's it's this kind of polishing stick. So the brown is for mild cutting on plastic, and the white is for polishing on plastic. And I used all of that on this piece, and it came out looking like crap. So this was all a few days ago. And so I picked up some of this because I can't find any Future floor polish. I've been reading threads on it, and apparently Future was bought by Pledge, and now you can buy Pledge with Future Shine, except that Pledge doesn't. All the Pledge bottles I've looked at, and I've looked at 70 of them, none of them have the word Future on them. So I bought this stuff, and this is a floor restorer. It's supposed to fill all the cracks, leave a perfectly clean shine, and so I drizzled it on here, and it looked like crap. After a couple of days, it dried and it looked like crap. So even though it looked better than it does right now, this is now had some more work done to it. Since I've gotten the 1200 and the 1500 sandpaper, I have sanded this, and which has helped. And hang on. Okay, and something else I bought another one of these little kits, also from Home Depot, also by Ryobi. This has got some formed polishing head dome things, plus more of the polishing compound sticks, and this. So this is the first one. This is the one I've been using tonight now that I've got my sandpaper. I've actually done the sanding with 1200 and with 1500, and so now I'm actually polishing. So I got this wet with water, and micro 3M micro finishing, micro rubbing compound, whatever. Anyway, you know, I stir it up a little bit. I dip this in there. I will then chuck this up, and I'll be right back. Alright, I had to move away from the main working area over to an area where I don't care as much. Alright, so I chucked that thing up into my drill bit, obviously, and I want to make sure it's good and wet. And the piece that I'm working on here, I want to make sure that it's good and wet. And what I'm doing is I'm just working on the inside of the canopy now. Keep plenty of fresh compound on there. It splashes around a bit, but I don't care. Okay, well, it just makes a big old chocolatey mess. Alright, so what I decided some time ago was that, so I don't want to have to rinse this out, and it's not a cheap little piece of kit, so I think it's like $10. So it's going to live in there. One way or another, I'm pretty sure I'm done with that until I get ready to work on the aft part of the canopy. But until then, next up will be polishing. So I'm going to let that dry. I'll rinse it and dry it, and and then bring you back for some polishing. Okay, so another couple of weeks have passed, and mostly with me doing nothing. And until this morning when I finally got on to the next step of this windshield finishing project. And what I did is I picked up some of this stuff. Meguiar, actually this belonged to a friend of mine. There's a little bit left in this thing. It's a fine cut cleaner, and this is a 4-inch polishing wheel. And what I did, I'm actually gonna have to redo what I was doing this morning in order to show you guys what appears to have finally given me a result I can live with anyway. So I'll put a little bit of this wax here on this buffing pad, and all I've done here is I've chucked my drill motor up in the vise, and I'm using I'll use that to get the thing running. Hold on a second. So this is a practice canopy that I've been using. I've been doing all the same stuff that I've been doing on the real canopy. I've been doing on this canopy, and so what I found this morning is I put a 4-inch wheel on here, which gives me more rotational speed, and then using that cleaner, that the micro cut cleaner from Meguiar's, I use that, and and so with my hand on the inside as I do this, I can feel the heat building up, and I can feel, so that, you know, I can get a gauge for how quickly to keep things moving so that I don't build up too much heat, because, you know, the last thing you want to do is turn your canopy into a different shape, right? Okay, so I polished it with that. It's a reasonably violent process, and then this is one of those rouges for polishing things, and this is the one that came in the kit I showed you earlier. This is for plastic. They call it polishing plastic, and so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to get a bunch of it onto the polishing pad. That, and then I'm going to do the same thing I just did. it gets warm pretty quick. Okay, and so, I mean, you can see some major damage up in here, but overall, it has definitely gotten a lot cleaner, a lot shinier. There are some very, very microfine scratches that, in the right kind of light, I can see it, but I don't care. Alright, so this is the last of the polishing pads that came with the various kits that I bought, and it's kind of like a half round. And because it's the only one that's clean, it's the one I'm going to use just without any stuff on it. I'm going to use it to buff off all of the buffing compounds and stuff that are on my actual windscreen. This is my final windscreen here. Okay, and so I have more junk on my hands probably now than I have on the windscreen. So it's one thing times like this, I want to make sure that you buff off compound, and your hands just put more crap on there. So, alright, so we got the, alright, here we go. That is a significant improvement over what I started with. There are now no longer any little pimples and serious imperfections that existed as a result of the vacuum forming process. There are, however, lots of little micro fine scratches. I have no idea how to get rid of that crap, but I know that the plastic modeling guys, they would dip their clear plastic in like a future floor polish. So I may do that. I may also just shoot this with a epoxy clear, like Class Coat clear gloss, and that might fill in some of those microfine scratches. But honestly, this looks on the airplane. This would probably look pretty scale. It's not perfectly polished. But it also doesn't have any imperfections left from the manufacturing process. So, all right, that is how I went about my first windshield polishing job. I can't say I'm 100% tickled to death with the process. Can't say I'm 100% tickled to death with the final product. But you know what? Overall, it's better than what I had, and it's better than anything you can buy from Zeroli or any other manufacturer. So I guess I have to be happy with that. So thanks for watching. Later.